Greetings, everyone. It's great to be with you. Thanks so much for joining us. Thank you for everything you do in the way of service. Our presentation today is entitled The Laws of Life 15, the Law of Love 2. So we'll continue on this central law of mysticism, the law of love. By way of introduction, I can mention that in the November 1931 issue of the Rosicrucian Digest, there was featured an article by Imperator Emeritus H. Lewis entitled Love and Thanksgiving. We will continue to follow up on that article on the central law of love at the heart of mysticism. We'll consider love's meaning, wide-ranging expressions, and keys for sustaining it in our life. In this manner, we'll continue to explore Rosicrucian laws and principles and their creative expression and application for the mastery of life, harmonious living, and service. Now you see before you now an equilateral triangle. And it's part of a very important law of the Rosicrucians, the law of the triangle, also known as the law of perfection or law of creation or law of manifestation. And it's a very important law throughout our life. Whenever we're having challenges manifesting something in our life, we can look to the law of the triangle and see how it's not being fully put in place or put into an effective way. In this regard, let us consider an application of the law of the triangle central to our presentation today. We could have at one point of the triangle or creation light. And light can mean a variety of things. For example, it could be symbolic of knowledge, know-how, preparation, and development. Also, if we place at the other point of the base of the triangle, life, that is our vitality, our well-being, our health, an expression of in living. If those are perfectly blended, something very wonderful happens. It's very important to always remember in our life that love will manifest at the third point of creation. The two polarities of light and life have come together to form perfect creation and blend in love and allow it to be expressed. In a similar fashion, combination could happen in a different way. For example, instead of speaking of light first, we could put life here. And I think many of you are used to that and often hear the expression of life, light, and love, or light, life, and love. Now, it's true that love is always there for us. In fact, it's back of all creation. But to have its expression, sustain it, we need to have life and light properly blended. Then we can build up in mastery in our life. This will help lead us into our meditation period that we're about to have, and then we'll be back on the main body of the presentation. For example, if you look at this diagram here, we can have the light, life, and love that we've been working with, but also life and love can be combined to increase our light. That is here with our health and vitality and our love of life and love of learning, that allows us to gain greater understanding, progress in our studies. We have our weekly lessons in the Rosicrucians, for example, or in school, in the world, whether it be in grade school, high school, college, and so forth. And we can continue to build in this fashion. And you'll see here, we're building up the structure of triangles. The love and the light that were manifestations from these two law of creation triangles, they can be perfectly blended to increase our vitality, our well-being, our expression of life. Now, these are highly symbolic terms, so light can refer to a variety of different things along the line of knowledge. Life can refer to a variety of things in terms of vitality, vim and vigor, and health. And love can take a variety of forms that we'll be talking about, from a earthly to a heavenly or spiritual form. Now, if we continue with this construction, and you can think of this happening on a daily basis and throughout our life, that you can start to see we're forming a wonderful edifice in our life. And indeed, traditionally in spirituality and part of the sacred meaning of the word edifice is that we're building up the divine within us. We're cultivating the expression of the soul. Now we could keep going with this structure and the way that we're applying the law of triangle, not only for light, life, and love, but in a variety of other ways in our life and in our surroundings. And ultimately, it reminds me of a particular structure in geometry called the Sierpinski triangle. I know many of you are interested in fractals and fractal geometry. In fact, you can think of the structure made up of triangles after triangles after triangles and finer structure. In fact, if you go with the full fractal geometry, the triangles are produced ad infinitum. There's an infinite number. As you zoom in closer and closer, you see the same structure repeated again and again, like the law of correspondence, as above, so below. But also, the triangles get smaller and smaller. They keep repeating. In this sense, the structures can remind us of how we apply the law of triangle in big and large ways in our own life. Not going ad infinitum, but going many times, day by minute, by hour, by day, by week, by month, by year, by decades, by incarnations. This is a very inspiring structure. I know many of you are very familiar with fractal geometry. And because if you think of this triangle, like just the black area is the plane, the two-dimensional space, in a way, you can think of and this triangle as starting off as in its sort of blue purple structure. And we keep taking out triangular parts of it. We keep removing parts of it. In some ways, it starts to move from being a two-dimensional object to a one-dimensional object. In fact, it can be viewed as having what's called a Hasdorf dimension of 1.585 between 1 and 2 dimensions. And if you look at this structure and just relax your eyes as we start to enter into our meditation, don't focus on any particular part, but just look at it generally and just relax your eyes, not placing your focus in any one place. I think you'll see that the image starts to have special optic effects. It starts to take on a life of its own, so to speak. It starts to have a lot of energy and dynamic movement. Just continue to gaze at it and begin our meditation. In a way you can think of like this is looking at your life and the various ways that the law of triangle are applied in your life. And this overarching equilateral triangle is before us. In a way, it can be like a model for our ascent upwards into the celestial sanctum. We see before us the triangle of perfection. We see it many times. The great system and order of living once we know the laws of life. The triangle is a sacred form. In part because it represents a fundamental law in living. In the way that we bring together light and life to manifest love. I invite you now as you gaze with a particular focus on the triangle, just on it generally, no particular part. Just enjoy the gentle rhythm of your breath. The incoming of the air, the outgoing of the air. That in itself applies the law of vibration and the law of the triangle, the incoming, the outgoing. We have the complete cycle, which leads to the relaxation response, particularly when we extend our exhalation, which I invite you to do now. Just enjoy the gentle rhythm of your breath. With the incoming of the air, you may wish to be very cognizant of the vital life force and the oxygen and the other chemical constituents coming into your body. Fresh, invigorating air. Same time, extending the exhalation for that relaxation response. Achieve autonomic balance. That is the balancing of the two polarities, the autonomic nervous system, the sympathetic, parasympathetic systems that we work with. One a little more than the other at one time, than the other or another time, as we steer our way through life. The ideal is to have a balance of them for action, for contemplation. For perceiving and conceiving. And when you're ready, I invite you to close your eyes now. And we'll continue to apply the law of purification and the law of attunement. Just enjoy the gentle rhythm of the breath. The great incoming and the great outgoing. Fundamental maintaining the holy temple, the vitality of our body. The incoming and the outgoing are just like waves lapping up at a great ocean, stretching out vastly before us. Suggestive of our cosmic and infinite connections. We took our first breath at the time of our incarnation in this life. And we'll take our last breath at the time of our transition. Rosicrucians refer to as our great initiation. We continue in this great adventure of living. This great experience and expression of love. Just continue to enjoy the gentle rhythm of the breath. Surprisingly simple act, but never one to be underestimated for its profundity and perfection, for self-mastery of life. Indeed, one of the keys to self-mastery is the mastery of the breath. Whenever you find yourself in a challenging situation, I invite you to extend your exhalation and recall this deep sense of well-being now. Feel that relaxation response, which as mystics we spiritualize calmness and equanimity and imperturbability. Now let us continue our meditation, applying the Rosicrucian booklet, Liber 777, which I'll give you resources for later. And we'll ascend together to the heights of the celestial sanctum, inspired by the view of this Sierpinski triangle. We'll rise up to the apex, the very heights of the celestial sanctum. Begin, we'll further apply the law of purification. Which I invite you to say with me now, following prayer and invocation. May the divine essence of the cosmic infuse my being and cleanse me of all impurities of mind and body, that I may enter the celestial sanctum and attune in pureness and in worthiness. So mote it be. Now, friars and sorors and participants, let us rise up from the home or dwelling, office building, we're at now. Right out of the room, right out of the building itself, right up over the neighborhood, right up over the town or the city or local geographic area. Just keep rising faster and faster. Use all your inner psychic faculties and imaginative capacity to rise up faster and faster and enjoy the exhilaration of the ascent. And up over your province, state, even now your great nation or country. See below the weather systems, the landforms, the beauty and wonder of it all. You rise up higher and higher. Above now the continent where you dwell, and even the hemisphere where you dwell. As we rise higher and higher, we sense the great rotations of the earth. Continue to rise higher and higher. You rise up higher and higher past the great fiery ball of the sun, the beautiful elliptical orbits of the planets. Let us keep journeying past myriad stellar phenomena, quasars, the pulsars, the nebula, cosmic web, the asteroids, the black holes helping balance the universe. Keep rising higher and higher, faster and faster. Keep rising higher and higher. Sense the great wonder of it all, the harmony of the spheres, the music of the universe, the reverberation of the word going forth, sustaining creation from the beginning of time to the end of time. And let us pass out from the great Milky Way galaxy, our local home. And as we exit from it, we can see below the spectacular form of great spiraling arms. And we look up and we see other galaxies and their spiraling arms and other forms, and myriad stars as we rise higher and higher, enjoying the exhilaration of the ascent with a great sense of love for the entire cosmos and all sentient beings in it. Increasingly experiencing what Rosicrucians refer to as the cosmic consciousness, consciousness of the cosmic being, universal intelligence back of the cosmos and all natural and spiritual laws. You rise up higher and higher past myriad stars and nebula, galaxies, even clusters of galaxies, and clusters of galaxies or superclusters of galaxies. Sense the vastness and take it all in on a physical level, but also on a psychic level, using a full range of vibrations of what Rosicrucians refer to as the cosmic keyboard. Enjoy the wonder of it all, the great joy and love viewed in the cosmos. Soon I think you'll get a sense of the entire cosmos rotating about a great cosmic axis. And when you sense the presence of that great cosmic axis, speed towards its midpoint and slow up. And when you reach it, dwell there and take in the stupendous harmony of the cosmos, the great working of the cosmic mind back of the cosmos. I invite you now to follow further the instructions of the booklet Liber 777 to visualize your personal sacred space, your personal celestial sanctum. You may model it after inspiring temple on earth, inspiring place in nature, or simply the dependent view all about you. This high point of consciousness. You wish to sense other seekers with you there, other students of the order, officers of the order, the invisible and invisible masters, various laws and principles depicted on stained glass or by other means. Fill in the sights and sounds, the inner psychic impressions, the overall spiritual import. Make it real, make it vital, and use the emotions intensely. A great sense of love and gratitude to be at this high point of consciousness, truly our birthright. When you filled it in well, release it and dwell in peace profound, applying the law of silence, the law of cosmic attunement. We dwell in the heights of celestial sanctum. Let us increasingly surrender. Be surrender. Be still. Be receptive. Feel all there is to feel. The increasing presence of the divine within, coming up from the depths of our being. Let us feel the great love of the divine within for us and for all creation about us. And within us. Mirrored by the law of correspondence. So we continue to surrender, be receptive. Just by a special combination of the law of cosmic attunement and the law of assumption. Let your mind expand to become the cosmic mind. Assume the cosmic mind. Experience the cosmic mind. Experience as the cosmic mind experiences. You may find this helpful to visualize your mind expanding to fill the cosmos. Be the cosmic mind as we dwell in stillness. In this period of cosmic communion, let us undertake a further spiritual operation of the work and worship of the Rosicrucian Order Amorc. I invite us to work as a silent council in conjunction with the Council of Solace, the Grand Lodge of the Rosicrucian Order Amorc. While we assume the cosmic mind, let us radiate love and well-being to all those who have petitioned our Grand Lodge for guidance and healing. And let us radiate love and well-being to all those who petitioned our affiliate bodies for guidance and healing. And let us radiate love and well-being to all those we know who are in guidance of love and healing. And let us radiate love and well-being to all sentient beings throughout the cosmos who are in need of guidance and healing. Just let the love and well-being flow out like a great searchlight or spotlight, a great fountain of water filling the cosmos with love and well-being for all in need. Let it flow with great rapidity, just as we rose to the heights of celestial sanctum with great speed and rapidity. First, there may be a conscious effort on your part to get the love and well-being flowing, but at a certain point, I think you'll find it speed up and you can surrender and let the divine within take over, radiating love and well-being to all in need. Calling it a law of service. Just let it happen. Let it unfold and surrender. Soon we'll formally close our period of sending a metaphysical aid as part of the work of the Silent Council in conjunction with the Council of Solace. But we'll continue after that, our meditation a while longer. Let us be assured, though, that this radiations of love and well-being will continue from the depths of our being as a way of life, as part of our mission in life, as part of our full growing up, our full evolution. We'll formally close our period of sending a metaphysical aid, and I invite you to stay with me now. If it pleases the cosmic, it is done. So mote it be. Now, fathers and sorors and participants, let us dwell a while longer at the heights of the celestial sight, at the center of our being, this high point consciousness, at one with the one in cosmic communion. Having applied the law of service, I think you'll now experience by the law of karma, the law of compensation, the law of cause and effect, a wonderful tonic effect for yourself, your whole being, and a tremendous sense of love, the heights of the celestial sanctum for all. Soon we'll begin our descent from the heights of the celestial sanctum. I invite you now to apply a law that has a special relationship with the central law of love and the law of cosmic attunement, that of the law of gratitude. You may wish now to express your gratitude and thanks to all those who have taught you well, to all those who have loved you well, to all those who have sacrificed well on your behalf. Causing of their example, may we ever follow it in our own lives. I invite you now to let's begin our descent from the heights of the celestial sanctum, moving with tremendous speed, way beyond the speed of light, past the myriad stars and the stellar phenomena, the quasars and the pulsars and the black hole balancing universe, the galaxies, the clusters of galaxies, even the superclusters of galaxies, enjoying the exhilaration of the descent, just as we enjoyed the exhilaration of being at the high point of consciousness, celestial sanctum and cosmic communion, taking that with us now as a way of life. Past the myriad stars, rejoicing in the harmony of the spheres, the music of the cosmos. I see in the distance now our wondrous home, the great spiraling arms of the Milky Way galaxy, and plunge back into it, and past the myriad stellar phenomena, planets, and rogue planets, and asteroids, and nebula. The beauty and wonder of it all, the great joy and love back of it. And let us see in the distance the great fiery ball, our local star of the sun, the beautiful blue jewel of the earth, the temple of the earth. Let's return to the hemisphere where we left off, the continent, great nation or country, our province or state, our county and city or geographic area. I invite you to say with me now, prayer and invocation in closing. May the God of my heart sanctify this attunement of self with the celestial sanctum. So mote it be, and let us continue our final descent into our neighborhood, our city and town and neighborhood, the building or office where we left off, our home, the room, or our dwelling, however we're situated, lying down or seated. When you're ready, you may wish to stretch and open your eyes, feeling remade, rejuvenated, regenerated, rested, all the more ready for the work and worship of the Rosicrucian Order. And Mark. Great. Thank you, everyone. We'll continue the main body of our presentation, the law of love 2. You can think of mysticism as the art and science of love. By mysticism, we mean full growing up, or the full maturation, or the full evolving of the human being, full evolution of consciousness, full development of the Christ consciousness of the cosmic consciousness. As the great mystic Plotinus used to say in ancient times, to be one with the one, fully identifying our outer nature with our inner nature, the inner self, the master within, the divine within, God within. Mysticism, in a way, is the subject back of all subjects. At its heart, all things need to be known as a relationship to the whole. And we increasingly are wiser and wiser in our application of a subject, whether it be in mathematics or in the arts, culinary arts, in building in whatever form, we have that deep understanding back of it and see its context, then truly we'll find that mysticism is a subject back of all subjects, just as the law of love is the law back of all other laws. Before us now, we see a rather special work of art. I know many of you are familiar with the Cleveland Museum of Art. And we see a work here that's entitled Amor Caritas, on the personification of love before us, modeled in 1898 and cast in 1898 by Augustus St. Gaudens, an American. And it's framed within two pillars suggestive of a temple motif. But let's zoom in a little more on it so you can actually see the announcement of the words in Latin here. And we see this personification of love and the law of love. There's various floral arrangements suggestive even here. A rose and the flower here on the upper part of the head. We see the great wings suggestive of the great flight we undertook to the heights of the celestial sanctum in love. And we see the great longing of the figure towards us. Indeed, we sense in a way a woundedness in this personification before us. Indeed, to be human is to be wounded in love. And to be human is to long for love. And to be human is to be healed in love. These are all things we undertook in our ascent to the heights of the celestial sanctum. In our attunement with the cosmic, we experience love, particularly through the Christ consciousness or cosmic consciousness and the experience of love. And we can recall now and still are living out in momentum that attunement with the cosmic we had during meditation. We can recall the cosmic sense at any time to live it and be it. And the tremendous love experienced in cosmic communion, which is a love for all on all planes of existence, all expressions of the nous, the life force. This work before me reminds me of the beloved Rosicrucian student Michael Shillelagh's book, Upon a Quiet, and his introduction to chapter 4 on the movements of love, where he states, as we look at this work of art and into the eyes of the personification of love, how often do our thoughts turn towards love? As we make our way through life, love is ever present. Even though we struggle to describe what she is or even remember that she is there. It is such a mystery. It is such a mystery that the dying soldier calls for his mother with their last breaths. There is a connection of life through love, and it reveals itself in every kingdom of life. Each of us are the result of an act of love that began with a pure desire of our Creator. Thus, love is the great cordelier that binds all things together, and we can rejoice that we live within such a loving embrace. And I'll also continue to consider depictions of art involving the central law of love. You'll see before you now another wondrous work from the Cleveland Museum of Art. That museum is renowned for its tremendous collection of Mughal miniatures and works of art, as the one we see before us. We see here a work that's entitled The Dream of Zuleika. And we see with her is a manifestation of Yusuf or Joseph. And these are biblical figures. They're known in the Islamic and Judaic and Christian tradition. And as we had an earlier presentation in this series of Department of Instruction on the clothing of impressions, it can be helpful to think about earthly things, to understand divine things, and to ascend in them, just like we did in our celestial sanctum exercise when we rose through the cosmos. We went from the finite plane to the infinite plane, from the terrestrial to the celestial. And here we see Zuleika, who's deeply in love with the beautiful Joseph or Yusuf, and she's dreaming of him at night. She has a deep romantic love for him, and in her dream, she sees him before her here. And we'll go in even closer so you can see a close up of the experience. You see the candles, and she's on a terrace, and you see the halo around Yusuf or Joseph, and through the night, the angels connecting and communing with Joseph, and we see the symbolic moon of the love and the feminine polarity. She's so deeply in love with Joseph, and it's actually quite beautiful because in various Islamic traditions to do with mysticism, they take up this story of this love story, and that there's the mystic and Sufi poet Jamir, who uses this as an allegory of spiritual love. Just as we ascended the heights of the celestial sanctum and entered into that cosmic communion with love, so the earthly love can suggest that to us. So can friendship or the love between child and parent or grandparent. You can look for love in all things. In a way, we're always longing for love. We sense that deep completeness when we commune with the master within, that mystical marriage, that alchemical marriage, which is wondrously betrayed before us in this masterly work of Mughal art dating from around 1670. So you can see we can use these earthly things, these things from our everyday experience, the more deeply clothed impressions coming from deep within us through from the master within in our meditation periods. In a similar fashion, I wanted to show you this work by an Anishinaabe artist dates from 2016. It's actually entitled after a word from Anishinaabe language, Abawa Easywin, which means the art of being together. And you'll see depicted here the artist, and we have a statement from the artist I'll give you a reference for if you're interested in exploring this work further. But he tells us that he wanted to personify the art of being together. And he envisions a future where all cultures can, and indeed the world, will live together in harmony. In his own spiritual tradition of the Anishinaabe or the Ojibwe, he speaks of the seventh fire prophecy. And in that, there will emerge a new people to retrace their steps and reignite the flame of the Anishinaabe people and regenerate our languages. In a way like the regeneration we undergo when we do our Rosicrucian lessons and exercises and the meditation we just did. And he depicts on the left a descendant of the Europeans, a white male, and on the right, an Anishinaabe woman. And the one on the left, I should say the left, the male on the left, in European heritage caused great harm to Anishinaabe. But with the seventh fire prophecy, there'll be increasing recognition and communion, and in part through the crow, which is a helper. And you notice the circle here taking in all colors of unity, connecting in a way to the heads and indeed the third eyes of the male and female figure with the great helper spirit, the crow. We see the cosmos below, all around, the figure of love, hands holding together in communion. And indeed, this will fulfill the eighth fire prophecy of the Ojibwe or the Anishinaabe, that there will be a full recognition, that there will be an eternal fire of peace, love, brotherhood, and sisterhood, the artist tells us. So we see, in a way, a work of art that helps inspire within us that experience of the deepest form of love that we truly long for and is our birthright as human beings. Continuing in this way, I wanted to show you again a work of art that I've shown you before. It was a much beloved work of art, one of the favorites of museum visitors to the Hampton University Museum in Hampton, Virginia. It's entitled The Banjo Lesson, dating from 1893 by Henry Ossawa Tanner. And in it here, we see, as the title of the painting suggests, a musical lesson on the banjo. And we see the young child with an elder, quite possibly a grandparent, and the child. And we see that they're surrounded by humble circumstances, and there's a great play of light in the background that's very enriching, that brings in the midground the figures and their activity. In a way, here we see a wonderful expression of the law of love. I'll review all of the presentations that we've had on the laws of life here, and culminating with the law of love. We'll see in this work applications of all these laws. We also applied these laws when we ascended the heights of celestial sanctum. And it behooves us to make these laws habits, ways that we live by for the mastery of life. We see for us, for example, before us, and I'll mention some, these laws are applied in many respects in the creation and our of this painting and our appreciation of it. But we'll see the law of attunement, for example, in the teacher and the student getting on the same wavelength to make understand each other and what's being conveyed. But also the law of attunement with the artist and what he wished to convey to us. We see, of course, the law of vibration, a variety of ways that we're impinging on our senses to understand this work, but also the law of vibration in the simple act of plucking the strings on the banjo. It goes back in ancient times, such as the Pythagoreans and the teachings that come from Africa. We see the law of patience as well, with the elder, with the student. We see the law of receptivity or beings on the part of the student to the teacher. We see the law of polarity or law of duality and the light and darkness in the painting, but also the mind and body working together under the law of unity. But we also sense the whole work as a unified, inspiring whole. We see also the law of resistance in the sense that one doesn't pick up a musical instrument or have self-mastery immediately. There's a resistance, there's a testing of our worthiness. We see the law of concentration on both the teacher and the student to focus. And we know that through meditation, we build up our concentration. We see the law of creativity by the tune that's being played that was a creative act as a co-creator with the divine. We see the law of respect and the law of dignity through the appreciation of what the works that have gone before us, but also the passing of tradition from the elder to the student, and they mutually respect each other as both as expressions of the soul personality. Indeed, the younger one here may have been the elder of the one here in the previous century. We see the law of transmission of skills and abilities and art forms. We see the law of service in that of the elder passing on the strength given just as he was taught music. We see the law of recreation in that it's good to take time out from our busy schedules to recreate ourselves, have recreation, just as we're co-creators with God. We see the law of impersonality in the sense that we have to transcend our particular conditions and transmit what we know and love to others. We see the law of triangle and the law of manifestation and the law of perfection in the applying the student and the teacher, forming the new work of the lesson. But we also see it with the hand and the eye working together. We see it with the hand and the mind working together are the manifestation of the music. We see the law of suggestion in the various ways that the artwork has been done. It's a two-dimensional work, and yet it gives three-dimensionality. We almost sense that we can feel the person's breathing before us, their life force at work. We see the law of suggestion too in the way the teacher will teach to the student, not necessarily ordering, but making suggestions. We see the law of attraction. The student is drawn to the music of the spheres, the music of the instrumental music that suggests the divine music. We're also attracted to this work just as the visitors to the Hampton University Museum love this work. We see the law of correspondence at work because, as we say, we can clothe our impressions. As we produce music, we start to understand the law of all vibration, the cosmic keyboard. Combining and uniting all of these is the central law of love that we see expressed here, and also how lovingly it was done by the artist Tanner. All these laws work through the law of love, just as the entirety of creation is a manifestation of love. Just as we become more and more ourselves, using less and less energy not to be ourselves, we can release great love from deep within us. It's always there. It's just a matter of uncovering it. This is one of the great lessons of the Rosicrucian teachings and of the mystic poetry of the Sufi Rumi. So we'll come soon now to culminate our presentation. I wanted to show you a slide again that relates to the ladder of love, one of the most profound expressions of love in philosophy. It's from the dialogue of Plato's, the Symposium on Love. And there's various characters at a drinking party there or a social party talk about what love is to them. And the culmination and overarching expression is by Diotima. And she's a character in the story, but she's likened to a high priestess of the Eleusinian mysteries, and a prophetess, and a teacher and initiator is suggested of Socrates. And it's a work of art that's actually in Perth, Australia, that you may have even seen there. And it is a sculpture that dates from 1936 to 1937. We'll see an inscription on it. Then at last, man will behold beauty with the eye of the mind and will be able to bring forth not mere images of what is good for man, but realities. Would that not be an ignoble life, Socrates? And Diotima speaking to Socrates at the party and to all those assembled. And you'll see on the right the depiction of different forms of love, from the eros to the agape, from the self-love to the unconditional love for all. And in that symposium, Diotima talks about the terrestrial procreative love. And while this is on a vertical scale as depicted here, it is not that one is better than the other. The ideal is the balance of them. And then there's the terrestrial love and romantic depictions as we saw earlier in the art, but also laws of governance, of community, but also the laws of nature, studying physics and various disciplines, but also the ascending to the celestial love, which is holding of the virtues and the balancing of the virtues through knowledge and wisdom. And then ultimately the ascendant love that we entered into in our period of meditation, celestial ascendant love. The mastery of life consists in being able to play all these on the cosmic keyboard or ascend the ladder of love as needed in the circumstance. But in our Rosicrucian teachings, they teach us about the compassion, the mastery, and the harmonium, the balance of all these love, which then we come fully in, to be fully ourselves, fully identified with the divine within, fully matured, one with the one. So we've continued to consider the laws of life, particularly the law of love, expanding on the Rosicrucian Digest article by the past Imperator H. Spencer Lewis entitled Love and Thanksgiving. And we've looked at how law is the central law at the heart of the mystical life. And we've considered its wide-ranging meaning, expressions, and how to sustain it in our life. In this way, we've continued to explore Rosicrucian laws and principles in their creative expression and application for the mastery of life, harmonious living, and service. And we've emphasized that mysticism is indeed the art and science of love. Thank you.